Behold, another video for Cyberscript tutorials. And just to make sure I'm recording, cool. All right, welcome back. We're gonna do a very, very fun segment of Cyberscript that I love to do when testing things, is playing with a lot of the entity specific actions. So let's get in a better light. We're gonna take all this off. We do not need it on because this is the fun part. This is the fun video we're gonna show you. Let's see, let's go entity manager. Who's this guy? There's a lot of things I'm looking at here. A lot of tags. I don't like it. So you know what? We're gonna look at him. He's registered through our script framework. So the appropriate tag would be look at entity, and you would know it's the correct tag because it shows the information of the entity. If you were looking at an NPC that is not registered, you would select look at NPC. But in this case, he would not apply because he is registered within the framework as, once we go here, it will show you his original tag is Ambusher. And it'll show you the current appearance name. You cannot apply appearances that aren't applied to this specific character. And that goes for every other character slash entity with their own appearance coded to themselves. However, you can fuck with the effects against these guys. You can make him, I don't know, P. You're into that. You can do a lot of things. You can do all these little animations. It's kind of funny to call the smasher animations. So we're just gonna type in smasher, sync memories, play. He's gonna do his thing. And you can also like, you can actually also copy like these anims too, like the actions for them. So he's just gonna stand like that. I should have used that for the main mission. Actually, no, it's a lie. I should not. So let's see. Go to
Get
custom.
away from me.
Let me see. Let's just do like a random one. Let's do. Yeah, let's make him dance. Why not? So we have this action, this playing, right? We can copy to action clipboard. Close that. And then we can go to action tester. Open an action. Paste. And then the look at entity tag will apply. And then the anim will be here. As well as the... Don't worry about this. Just leave that as it is. Only thing you need to worry about is the anim value, which is stand 2 hand on sides 01, wait, dance, headphones 02. And he's just doing this cute little dance. Alright, let's stop our boy here. He's gonna stop. I want to make him mad. So we're gonna make him mad. So say you want to make an NPC get mad at you, right? So you would type into the filter once you're in the action, add new action. You would type into the filter, type in attitude. Change, you would, in this option would pop up, change attitude against another entity. And the tag, we know his tag is actually Ambusher. If we checked in the entity inspector when we looked at the entity, you don't have to necessarily look at him anymore. Now it has the grabbed looked at entity. So now the tag would be the entity, and the entity tag would be the player. Treat entity as the target. That should make sense. So now we want him to hate us. Hostile. But I want to see something real quick. What if he's not looking at us and he's hostile? So as you can see, he's the same. If I got near him, he would get hostile at me. So let's do this. What if we want him to be hostile quicker? Easy peasy. Type in look into this little filter box. Entity look at another entity. The tag is going to be Ambusher. The entity slash target is the player. We're going to save. Look at it. I'm going to test it. Now he's looking at me. They just can't stop looking at me. So now, go here, test. He got mad. So now he's mad. So now we can't really do much.
Goodbye.
And I'm surprised he's not shooting at me. Actually, he's very surprised. Let me see something. It could be my save just bug. So you know what? We're gonna load a new save. We're just gonna load an old save, actually. Not a new, an old one. I'm gonna go to let's just go this one. Sometimes that can happen. I shouldn't say that, but sometimes it can happen where you're testing things and you might glitch out your save and it might not let you do combat. And it's a thing you have to watch out for once you're creating a mod and you want your end product to not be making the player not be able to fight. Alright, so let's do a clean slate with this. We have our actions and triggers set. We have our actions actually set, not our triggers. Just my bad. I'm going to spawn the entity. Just for the sake of simplicity, we're going to name him Ambusher. If you're trying to test spawn an entity, oh my god, it's so fucking bright. When you're trying to test spawn an entity, and if you have your actions and stuff set up for a specific tag, just put it the same tag and put unlimited spawn time. We give you a default spawn timer of 300 seconds. Then the entity will despawn automatically. This is to prevent any like performance hiccups or anything like that. However, you can always set the spawn time to 0 within spawn NPC action. I'll show you real quick. I'm gonna type in spawn entity spawn NPC, and you would see here that the despawn timer, you can leave it to 0. Boom, bada boom, and it will never despawn until you set an action to despawn it. So we're gonna get some random dude. You know what? I really don't like Arasaka right now because it's just mean people. I'm gonna spawn you. They're gonna spawn on top of you. That's okay.
Say it to my
Well, this man
face.
does not like me. So let's do this. We're gonna open up our action tester again. It looks like it deleted it. That's okay. We're gonna do a look at. So we're gonna make him look at us. And remember, the tag is going to be whatever you set for the entity, and the entity the entity field treat it as target, so it would be the player in this sense. So we're gonna look at him. We're gonna look at over here. Press this button, and now he's looking at me. Oh. And now we're gonna make him mad at us. Attitude. Boom, bada boom. We have all our attitudes here. Psycho is only for if you want the NPC to just fight anybody that has an attitude applied to them through hard code. So there's that. But for this instance, we want hostile. So we're gonna test that. And now he hates us. But I think my save is just bugged, so he's not gonna fight me. And that's totally okay. But let's get sillier. Let's get funnier. We're gonna do this. So we're gonna also show you how to spawn things next to others and how that all works out too. So let's save that. We're gonna go and make a car spawn. We're gonna do spawn. We're gonna do vehicle, spawn vehicle. So when you spawn a vehicle, we're gonna type in just test. To make it not despawn, put it to 0. So the spawn system, you want it to be, if you're just spawning a car just normally, whatever, you want to use codeware method for the spawn system. If you're doing from garage, this is for like if you're trying to be spawning in, say, well, I'll explain that in another video. It's not really worth explaining, but I'll explain it at some point. But codeware is what you would use because it's just the better way to spawn things. Vehicle, you can type in a search, you can type in a faction, this should show up with something. For this, we're going to type in this Arasaka SUV. The group tag, just leave it blank, does not matter. Source of vehicle spawn can be from faction, sub-district, district leader, but this is determined by the modder themselves who wants to set up a faction to be a district leader. So these don't really pertain, really, unless you're trying to make it so it's going to be from a district leader you set. I hope that made sense. And then obviously it's the same as with the rival. It'll just use the rival of the leader. Random can be just whatever, doesn't matter what car it is, but I wouldn't recommend that because you never know if it's just going to spawn a helicopter and you can't get in it. So, the next part here is position source. You can do it at the player's XYZ, he'll spawn right on top of you, and that's not cool, don't do that. Relative to entity, player look at, it will spawn where you're looking at. And if you copied player XYZ, delete it, make it 0. Distance will be 5, and see if I look over here, I'll test it. I'll spawn. Albeit it spawned in like that, but you know, I think you can just reset the appearance. 1 second. There you go. Just set the appearance as blank, and it'll do that. So that's there. It spawned where I looked. I'm gonna spawn it, and now we're going to spawn it on the entity itself. So we have the entity here, as you see. His tag is Ambusher. I'm typing in right. Okay. This is where this is important to know. We're looking at him forward, which is his y-axis. Okay. If we have it relative to entity for him, and we're using the normal way to position it, it will spawn directly either in this certain scenario, it'll just spawn on top of him. However, if we do like relative coordinates, it's offsetting. So instead of spawning it directly on him, we can go put a coordinate x offset of 4. It will spawn on his right. Yes. So if you're looking north, which you can't really see the compass in my screen, but if you're looking north, which I am, your positive x is right, your negative x is left. Positive y is forward, negative y is backwards, and z is, you know, up and down. So for instance, we are going to ask the car to spawn behind him, but on the right. And just for distance, we're going to put 2. So we're going to test it. Oh, well, it spawned there. So that means, to look at this right, it spawned near me. Let's see. Ah, I know why. So it kind of is spawning behind him, but not necessarily. And that I'll show you why. If we were to do a forward, it would take it right from the forward source.
Who you talking to,
meaning you don't even need to use the Y. You can use the X and it will work. Watch. Boop. And see how it spawns on his
Say it to my face.
right. So there's that. And we'll spawn him. But what if we put it on his negative? Oh, I didn't press the button. See, it spawns on his left. The reason why it's spawning like that is because he's not directly facing straight north. So it's going to be a little off. And that's okay. But you can kind of get the gist. Now, if we wanted to spawn it forward relative, that's fun. Because this means it's just going to spawn on the side. The forward relative is actually pretty well detailed here. Left, right, forward, backwards. It's a much better thing to use than normal. I would use forward relative than normal. But behind and forward are pretty nice to use if you're trying to be specific with positioning. So let's do that. We're going to do a negative. Do a -2. Then we're going to do a 5. And it'll just spawn right there. So, and if you want, we can do a better way of testing this so it's a bit better to look at. 1 second. So let's make it spawn relative to me. We don't even need that guy anymore. So we're gonna do, so we are looking straight. Oh my god, it is blinding. Hold on, let me change this lighting real quick. That is blinding. Perfect. All right, so we're looking directly north now. So if I want to spawn this forward, but on my left, it will. See? And now, say we wanted to spawn +5. Spawns there. Okay? But if I wanted to spawn behind, spawns right there. Because forward relative is kind of on the side of where you're looking. That made sense. So I'm looking this way. It spawned a little behind me, but not totally. So there you go. That's how forward relative works. I think it's a pretty good method to use if you're trying to ambush a player with an enemy from the side and they're not paying attention. So say that this vehicle is an NPC and you wanted to fight him, and you know he could come from the side and then boom, you know, hit him and all that stuff. So that let's see if we can get this guy to walk to the car and get in effortlessly. So we have our test vehicle and we have our ambusher. So we're going to save that. Now we want to seat him in the car. Well, type in seat into the filter. Entity set seat. The tag is going to be our NPC, the ambusher. The vehicle is called test because we labeled it as test. Now, to make him physically drive the vehicle, if he were to get aggressive, you have to seat him in the seat front left. That is the driver's side. Save it. Oh, if we want him to walk towards it, did he despawn? Hold on. Did he despawn? Little shit despawn. Little shit. All right. Well, we'll spawn him in again in a second. Wait for sit. We're gonna wait for sit. So we're gonna save that, and we're just gonna spawn our buddy in. Unlimited despawn time. That's why I fucked up. So let's do this. We're gonna go right here. And then we're gonna do this. So he's right here. And now let's make him, well, he's supposed to walk to it, but he sat. So that's something we have to figure out on our own. But if anything, if you put wait for sit and he automatically sits in it, it's probably because he didn't have a navigation, a proper navigation to walk. And you know, that can happen. It's a thing that can happen. You can always fine tune it, or you can do this. 1 second. Unset the seat. Ambusher. Test. Make sure the seat is the same thing. Left. And then we're going to test it. Now he's out of the car. Okay, well, that was cool. Okay, so let's say that... Let's do this. And get in. My bad, bud. My bad, boy. You can't even fight me because my shit's bugged. Haha, you suck. Now, it could be the reason why he didn't sit properly is because I have let there be flight, but you know, we don't know. Let's see. We're gonna make him run. So you can make the NPC move if you want. It's to move. Entity move 2. I'm gonna do ambusher. If you would only check his group if he's actually in a group, but he's not. Walk. We're gonna make him sprint. Use move V2 method, just do that. Don't even touch it. Distance tolerance. I don't really know what this does, but we're gonna just make the values the same. Don't really worry about rotation. We'll mess with it probably in this tutorial. That sounds pretty fun. Ignore navigation. Do not do that if you want something realistic, because he will just walk in the street. Let's see. Position source. Let's make him run towards us. So we're gonna type in, we're gonna do relative to entity, player. We're gonna do a forward relative, and we want him to go towards our right. Maybe not. So let's test that. Now he's running towards our right, or yeah, our right. Boom, bada boom. So this is very, very effective for where you need them to go. Or if you really want to, let's do this. Let's go over here, the most random fucking spot. We're gonna go do an @ copy this position, test it, and he just runs. Now, one thing to note is we didn't ignore navigation. So let's click that on. Let's say that we want him to be over here. How the hell are you going to get over here? There's so much blocking him. Well, it doesn't matter if ignore navigation is on. Boop. And watch him. Watch him. As you can see, this is a very powerful tool. Just the move. And the NPC is finding his way to it. And he did it. He made it. Good job, buddy. So now, if you did out of way, it gets a little silly. So let's do this. Here. Test it. Watch how this works. Once it's out of the way, just walks right through. So basically you're giving them no collision. Or if you did that and you're in like a dense area, you might stumble upon some invisible platforms that they can go up on, and that's silly. It's pretty funny to watch, but not realistic. It ruins the immersion. So the move tool as itself is incredibly powerful. And am I still recording? Okay, cool. Just making sure. The move tool is incredibly powerful. So with that said, moving is good. That's how you spawn people. We set the attitude already. We set them in the car. You saw how to do that. You can now, you know, always just kill entity if you really want to. Just play God real quick. Boop. He's dead. He's technically dead. Well, he's dead. And go us. He's dead. Cool. That's how NPCs really work. Yeah. Next we'll probably go over like animations and some other things. Anyways, bye.